Hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. I can't really do this quickly because I don't really know of a way to go through this material quickly. It's very complex. There's a lot of stipulations, as you guys can see. This is the first part. There's pretty much two main sections that go with ex parte removals, at least in Iowa, okay? Every state's going to be different in that, so I can't speak on any other state but Iowa because that's where I reside. That's where I have my actual court experience with them and everything. I can't speak on another state. I'm sure your guys' stuff is similar, especially being that I do most of my defenses. I use federal law and Supreme Court rulings in my favor, so to supersede the state's policies. But with these ex parte removals, it's very complicated and complex. It's going to take me a little bit to get through it, but I'll try to move as quick as I can. And more or less, if they come to you and they say, hey, we got a call about whatever. We need to talk to your child. We need to see your kid, whatever. If you don't comply with that, they will tell you flat out, well, then we will go get an ex parte removal so that we can talk to your kid without you then. And that's what they will do. This is if they have the time to do it, depending on the case. See, this other section covers when there isn't the time for this. Okay, those are like the emergency ones. Like if you took your kid to the ER and the doctor decides to try to do it, or the you know uh, people like that, a police officer, other people, other than social workers or whatever. Um, and the court will give them that ex parte removal if you refuse access to the child. Now, access to the child can be down at their office. It could be meeting at the hospital. It could be whatever like that, like where they can actually sit down and talk to you and the kid. That's pretty much what they want. If you don't give them that, they will make it way, 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 way worse for you. I do always do that. I don't let them in my house. I don't ever sign any of their stuff. I tell them, look, I'm showing you my kid. You can ask them questions, whatever, and then you can confirm, found whatever you're from your end and whatever, and I'll deal with it on the back end. But I don't ever let them come. I don't ever let them in my house. I don't ever give them unparented fucking access to my kid, ever. You don't do it. Because they lie. I mean, if somebody wants to say, oh, no, they don't lie, really? Because I've got them on tape at my last hearing committing perjury. So I'm telling you now, they lie. They lie in court. They lie on paperwork. They lie every day. Just so that they can kidnap another kid. That's a fact. People can be in denial of that all they want. That doesn't change the facts. Facts don't care about your feelings or your opinions. Facts are facts, period. So what'll happen is the court may enter an ex parte directing a peace officer or juvenile court officer to take custody of a child before or after the filing of a petition under this chapter, provided all of the following apply. Again, provided all of the following apply. And this is where we start running into problems, because the vast majority of times, this is complete and utter garbage on the behalf of DHS shoved into the court, and then they give them the order without actually ever having a true hearing, because under section 232.95 there should actually be a true hearing. The only time there should be an ex parte removal is if the child has immediate danger to the child's life. And if the person, refused to grant access, is another one. They don't say it that way here, but that's pretty much what they're saying. The person responsible for the care of the child is absent or though present was asked and refused to consent to the removal of the child. So again, that's if they ask to take the kid and you don't let them, then they will get the order. But again, there has to be significant, necessary steps. It has to be a necessary step to avoid basically imminent death or severe injury or trauma to the child. And when there is not enough time for an actual petition and hearing under Section 232.95. I know that's not the section I have labeled because that is a different thing. Then the application for the order includes a statement of the facts to support the findings specified in paragraphs A, B, and C. So everything they claim in A, B, and C, they've got to provide the evidence. And then the person making the application for an order shall assert facts showing there is reasonable cause to believe that the child cannot either be returned to the place where the child was residing or placed with the parent who does not have physical custody of the child. So by default, automatically, the child is supposed to go to the other parent if it's a split thing or whatever. So this is one clause of why a lot of parents call in stuff on other parents in the hopes of, I'm going to get my kid taken away from her so I can get my kid by default, or get my kid taken away from him so I can have my child more. This clause is a big problem in family court, and they really need to do something about it, but they won't because it's a loophole that they, gets the foot in the door to these families. And then, except for good cause shown or unless the child is sooner returned to the place where the child was residing or permitted to return to the child care facility, a petition shall be filed under this chapter within 3 days of the issuance of the order. So again, they have to show good cause on dragging their feet. Juvenile court may enter an order authorizing a physician or hospital to provide emergency medical or surgical procedures before the filing of a petition under this chapter, provided that A, such procedures are necessary to safeguard the life and health of the child. B, there is not enough time to file a petition under this chapter and hold a hearing as provided in Section 232.95. And then 5, juvenile court before or after the filing of the petition under the chapter may enter an ex parte order authorizing a physician or hospital to conduct an outpatient physical examination. And again, these come down to more physical abuse or denial of critical care for, like, your kid fell and broke their arm and you decided not to take them to the ER. Things of that nature. Or your child has severe respiratory infection and need to be put on a breathing machine and all this other stuff. If you refuse that stuff, those are all grounds that they can come in because you are not taking care of your child. That is denial of critical care by very definition. So, you really, when it comes down to it on that end, you're not going to have a defense. And realistically, you shouldn't have a defense. Get your kids help when they need it, man. Be a parent. And then when dealing with other things like adoptions, where you're the care provider for a nephew, a niece, a younger cousin, maybe a younger sibling because your parents passed and you're now the provider, whatever. There is different laws because you are not technically the biological parent of that child. There's different things at play, and really I recommend, if anybody is in any situation like that at all, have a lawyer. Don't even, like, what I would do is I would call a lawyer and contact them and go, look, the number one thing is don't comply with their unlawful stuff, like forcing their way into your home or signing a care plan or a custody agreement or a protection plan or any of this other, nonsense. Don't sign nothing. Be like, I don't sign anything without a lawyer. They're not going to provide you one, but they can't force you to sign their paperwork either. And as long as you brought your kid to their office and you let them question the kid and whatever, and you're sitting there and all that, let them do their paperwork and fight it on the back end. That's where you gain victories. It's not arguing with these brainwashed, brain dead, ignorant DHS workers, CPS workers. It's not arguing with them. You're better off arguing with the court. The court has ruled for almost 100 years in favor of parents. So I'm going to tell you right now, they're not likely to reverse any of those decisions anytime soon. So your best chance is to fight them in an actual court. Don't deal with their civil court, family court, whatever. Just go, look, here's what's up. I'll let you interview my kid about whatever it is you're thinking I'm doing or whatever. And you know, after that, you base your little decision on whatever, and then I will get that in the mail, and I will appeal it. And then I appeal it, and I win every time. Now, at the end of the day, you may not win. I can't, every case is different, man. Just like every child is different. Every parent is different. Every scenario is different. Money has a lot to do with this, because I'll tell you right now, you don't see any rich people complaining that they're losing their kids. Why? Because they go get super expensive lawyers that fight this out for them. They go out of district. Like, I live in Clinton, Iowa, and they'll go to like Des Moines, which is 3 hours away, to get a lawyer, which is smart. It's very smart. Or they'll go to Waterloo or Cedar Rapids, somewhere way out of the district where that lawyer isn't dealing with that same prosecutor and county attorney and that same family court judge on a daily basis. They become a little tight-knit family, man. You're never going to get a fair shake when everybody in there is against you. Think about it. DHS is against you as a parent. The county attorney / prosecutor, whatever, the family court, designee, whatever, they're against you. The judge, well, who does he work with every day? Those guys. So they're naturally against you. And then you have a lawyer that's, probably court appointed, that is going to be, at that point, is going to be appointed to you. And who do they work with every day? They don't want to upset that judge. They don't want to upset that prosecutor, because they want to get deals for their good paying clients. So anytime you're appointed a lawyer, I'm just telling you now, it's not going to end well for you or your family in any scenario. I don't care if it's criminal court, civil court, federal court, doesn't matter. You really want to pay. And I'm going to tell you, lawyers are crazy expensive, man. And they're going to tell you flat out, in some cases, oh, what's your freedom worth? What's your life worth? What's your family worth? I mean, I got a friend of mine who's facing charges right now. One lawyer wanted $10,000, the next lawyer wanted $30,000, and one of the craziest lawyers out of Chicago wanted $150,000. And that was his answer. What's your life worth? What's your freedom worth? What's the preservation of your family worth? So it's not like any of these lawyers aren't blood-sucking leeches just like the rest of the government, okay? So realistically, you're better off to learn to defend yourself. Learn the clauses. Learn the Supreme Court rulings. Learn how to file motions in court. Learn how to file evidentiary hearings. Force them to show up to court. Don't do it over the phone. Have it in an actual courtroom. Force them to show up. Appeal everything. Constantly. I don't care what court it's in. Appeal it. Always appeal it. Take your chances down the road. But, I mean, that's the thing, is I let them confirm, found, not confirmed, whatever they want to do at the office. I don't care what they say here. I don't care what they say at the DHS office or DHS in Des Moines. It's irrelevant to me, because not once have they ever actually taken me to family court where they got to give me a lawyer. Not once. Because, see, once it goes into actual court, then they have to provide you a lawyer, but you're probably not going to get a very good one. Like, here's an example. I contacted a family court lawyer that also does lawsuits for personal damages and civil rights cases, okay? I contacted her to sue DHS here in Clinton, the Clinton County, and the state of Iowa. And I was told that Although you're likely to win, I can't take your case because it would be a conflict of interest since I have a family member that works for DHS. Yet, they represent families every single day in open court against DHS. How is that not the same conflict of interest? Oh, that's right, because you're going to tell them to go along with whatever your mother says. Isn't that right, Miss Olson? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'll throw you under the bus because I don't give a fuck. Sue me. Bet you won't. Bet you won't. Because you're a fraud just like your mom at DHS. If you go to her for your family needs, you're going to lose your kids. I'm telling you now. I'll say it. I don't care. Sue me, bitch. I'm fed up. I am tired of seeing families get destroyed by this damn state and their color of law policies and their garbage. I'm tired of it. Especially here in my own damn city. I see it all the time. And I'm sick of it. And then you people want to let them commit felonies? And then you want to let them falsify evidence? You want to let them commit perjury? No. Absolutely not. And see, this is where they get you, is what I'm talking about, by the way. I'm sorry I got off topic, people. Bad me. I'm sorry, my bad. I got to pull an R-Truth here, any WWE fans out there. My bad. I messed up. Got to go back and get back on track here a minute. Now, here's the thing. Juvenile court, before or after you file a petition under this chapter, may enter an ex parte order authorizing a physician. Okay, went over that, right? Now, here's the thing. If the parent, guardian, or legal custodian is absent or, though present, was asked and refused to provide written consent for the examination. Now, when they use that ex parte removal threat at the DHS office, that's what they're pushing under. They're not doing it as a medical professional for whatever. They're doing it because it's like, oh, we're going to say it's denial of critical care. Or we're going to say it's, failure to provide proper supervision or fucking whatever, they want to make up. Sorry for the language. I'm getting frustrated because it's, they put in so many little protections for themselves while leaving none for parents and none for children. You notice, and nowhere in any of this does it say, we will provide, legal consultations must be required at this point. No, they're kidnapping your kids with nothing. No hearing, with no due process of finding, nothing whatsoever. They're just kidnapping your kid because they think whatever, because somebody called something in anonymously. I mean, that's absurd. But if they say, hey, we got to see the kid, we got to do this, we got to do that. Okay, that right there is the clause of why. So you bring them down to the office, you let them question them, and you go home. You let them decide whatever they're going to do from there. And then it goes from that. What this clause is, how do I want to do? And again, that's only if there is not enough time to file a petition and to hold a hearing as provided. Like the child is going to die, or you're going to flee the state or the country, things of that nature. That's supposed to be those extingent circumstances that allow them to get these orders. But they use it as, oh, you didn't come down to my office when I, told you to, so, or you didn't let me in your house when I told you to, so we're going to take your kid. No, that's not right. And then this is custody without a court order, like peace officer, juvenile court officer, physician treating the child, or juvenile court may authorize a peace officer, physician, or medical security personnel. So what they'll do is they'll take the kid, if you do finally take your kid to the ER and they think you abused the child or whatever, that's where these other cases come in. And that's where these ex parte removals are different. Because in the end, if a DHS worker and police show up to your house, okay, together, and once, the DHS worker's like, look, you got to let us in, you got to let us see the kid, you got to let us do this, you got to let us do that. If you go, look, here's my kids, you bring them outside and stand them in front of the cop, They get their questions off, whatever. That's done and over too. They can go make their assessment from that. But who, if it's that scenario with an officer and the DHS worker, who actually has the government's power, the true power to actually remove your child from that situation? The police officer. That's it. That DHS worker has no actual power. If that officer believes that there is a crime committed or that there is some other probable cause that that child is in danger, say they can smell a meth lab. They see a meth lab in the fucking house when you open the door, all right? They're taking your kid. Right then and there, you're done. They're going to pull everybody out of the house. It's over. You know, they see you smoking dope with the kids in front of, in front of the kids. They're going to take those kids. But that police officer at that moment has that authority because he can get that court order immediately and get the warrant filed immediately. They can get that shit signed at 3 in the fucking morning if there's exigent circumstances. It ain't nothing for them to go wake up a judge and get a signature. That happens every freaking day. Every day. Not just for this, but for anything. Arrest orders, search warrants, all that stuff. They'll wake a judge up at 3 in the morning if it's worth it. Believe that. They don't give a shit. But once that has happened, see, they have to show that the child is in a circumstance condition that presents an imminent danger to the child's life or health, and there is not enough time to file for an order, an ex parte order under the previous section that I just read, or an actual true hearing or any of that. So, also, if a person authorized by this section removes or retains custody of a child, the person shall bring the child immediately to a place designated by the rules of the court for this purpose, unless the person is a physician treating the child and the child is or will presently be admitted to a hospital. B. Make every reasonable effort to inform the parent, guardian, or custodian of the whereabouts of the child. DHS does not do that. In fact, they're fighting in court right now to be able to take your kid from here in Iowa and ship them to like Arizona or Colorado or California or wherever else. And that ain't going to bode well for anyone, being that they're already missing over 85,000 children that they got into their system at the border. Where'd they go? And you think they're not going to lose your child? Absolutely absurd. And then also, in accordance with court-established procedures, immediately orally inform the court of the emergency removal and circumstances surrounding the removal, which means call me at 3 in the morning and tell me what you did so I can have the paperwork ready, right away. And then, see, within 24 hours of orally informing the court of the emergency removal in accordance with paragraph C, inform the court in writing of the emergency removal and the circumstances surrounding the removal, aka cover your ass with paperwork after you made the phone call. Number 3, any person, agency, or institution acting in good faith in the renewal or removal of keeping of a child pursuant to this section, and any employer of or person under the direction of such person, agency, shall have immunity from any civil or criminal liability that might otherwise be incurred or imposed as the result of such removal or keeping, aka legalized kidnapping. There you go, folks. And these 2 sections right here are how they take your kids every day. Now, it's supposed to be used if there's extreme circumstances. You're molesting your child. You're beating your child. You're starving your child. You're, denying the child basic things of like, a bath, things of that nature. You're torturing the child, things of that nature, or if they've been injured and you refuse to get them medical treatment. That's what these are designed for. This was not to go after good parents that, you smoke a joint after fucking work before going to bed. Oh, we're going to take your kids away. No, that's not what it is for. You seen any mention of drugs in any of this? No. That's DHS's made up corporate policy that they made. That is not part of the law. And in the end, that is where I draw my big problem. No one should be immune for committing a crime. Period. Period. Because then where does that immunity end? Because that says from any civil or criminal liability. So if they kidnap my kid and my kid dies in foster care, they're all without any liability whatsoever? That's bullshit. And that, I'm sorry, that right there is why I have a problem. Just like this is how they get away with lying in court. They get qualified immunity, which is a joke because they ain't qualified for nothing. So I implore everyone, please look up these laws for yourself in Iowa and look up identical codes in your own jurisdictions, because just type in like ex parte removal, and then whatever state you're in. You can probably get the codes for that, and then just look at the codes that come right before and right after, and you'll usually find the connecting ones. Or they'll refer to them in here just like this. Please, people, learn your rights, learn, the rules of the courts and the laws and guidelines they have to follow. I mean, granted, even if they don't, then they just get immunity anyway. But hey, I guess, that's why there's no actual accountability with these people anymore. There's nothing. There's no checks and balances. And that's why I call it all a fraud. And everybody that's involved in it on a daily damn basis is a fraud. I'll say it to your face. Let me see you in public. I'll say it to your face. I don't give a shit. I'm 6'1", 260. Come see me. I ain't that guy. And at the end of the day, man, I'm done. I'm fed up. They can charge me with whatever they want, and I'll make a YouTube video on it. How about that? Charge me with helping people, all right? Charge me with practicing law without a license, for reading law to people and helping people. Charge me. I fucking dare you. Because I'm done. And with that, everybody, peace and love to everybody except the people that work for the government. And with that, I'm out.